Hey everybody, it's Candy, aka Brown Eyed Girl 69, and today is Saturday, March the 28th, day 87 of year one. And I've had an amazing day today. Didn't really start out like it was going to be an amazing day, but it ended up being an amazing day. I probably rolled out of bed around noon today. And I was going to try to do some door dashing here in town. I decided to go ahead and DoorDash. I got one order for $5. It was dead. So I had to make the choice around 4 o'clock, 4:15, because I'd already scheduled myself to dash in Norman tonight from 5 to 9. If I was going to stay here and delete my dash in Norman, if I was going to stay here in Purcell and take a chance and see if anything started popping, or if I should just go ahead and take my chances up in Norman. So I just went ahead and took my chances up in Norman. And I got up there about 5 till 5, and I dashed until about, I think it was around 9:15, 9:20 when I dropped off that last order. It might have even been a little later than that. But my last offer I had brought me from Norman to a small town called Noble, which is northeast of here. Anyway, so I was like, yeah, I'll take it. I made a total of, I started out, I made $5 here in Purcell. And then I made a total of 72 in Purcell, or in Norman tonight. Well, not all of that. $5 was here in Purcell. Then I made 76 in Norman. And then I came back to Purcell. After I was doing my last run, I'd already said that I was done with DoorDash. I came home, I had to get some water jugs for my water refills. Went up to my store, got my water refills, took a couple pictures of my schedule, chit chatted with a couple of my coworkers, a couple of the other regular customers that come in. I got in the car, I got everything loaded, got everything in the car, and I hopped on DoorDash since I was back in a different area. I wanted to see what Purcell was doing. I wanted to see if the map was red or if the map was gray. If the map is red, it's busy. If the map is gray, it's dead. Well, it said that the map was red, so I was like, okay, well, it said 1 to 2 minutes for an offer. So I was like, all right, cool. Let's go ahead and see what happens. So as soon as I immediately started dashing, I immediately got an order. It was for a McDonald's. It was to deliver to the other side of Lexington. But it wasn't really worth it, in my opinion. So I declined it. And I thought, well, let's see what else comes through. If they keep sending me crappy offers, I'll just log off. Well, next offer came through, and it was for $5.75, and it was here in town. So I was making more by taking that order than I would have taken the first order that I declined. So I did that, made an extra $5.70. So it brought me up to a total of $87, I think, total all day today. When I added it all up, it was exactly $87. So I was pretty stoked about that. It's days like today that really want me to, that really keep me wanting to go to do DoorDash. But I talked to my neighbor here tonight when I came home, and she was telling me that Jordan next week might, her niece might need some help with her groceries and whatnot. That she usually pays pretty good. And Jordan already said the next time she plans on being here in Purcell and she needs to buy some stuff for her place, she'll contact me. And I told her, I was like, well, my schedule didn't change from last week to this week, so my days off are still Monday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Tomorrow, I'm going to try to dash. I have to be at work at 5. But depending on what time I go to bed tonight, will depend on what I try to get up and do tomorrow. I say I'm going to try to dash, but it really depends. I've never dashed on a Sunday, so I really don't know what Sundays are like. Maybe I should just get up and turn it on and be ready to go in case it does go off and see how long I can go for. It might only be an hour or two, but hey, who knows? I might end up making 30, 40, 50 bucks. So I basically dashed for about 4.5 hours altogether, I would say. With that last one added in, which was about a 15 minutes, it took me from the time I got the offer, drive to McDonald's, and then delivered it back to the person. It was about 15 minutes, so. And I'd gotten done about 9:15, and then add that extra 15 on. So yeah, it was about 4.5 hours. That I made 86 bucks or $87. Ooh, I want to see how much that is per hour. Just out of curiosity, I'm always curious about things. Calculator, $87 divided by 4.5. Basically, I made $19.33 an hour tonight. So I made $5 more than I normally make at the grocery store. So, like I said, I'm not going to complain. It's pretty good, pretty good. Got all my kids' laundry done. I'm washing my laundry now, finally. Got all my kids' laundry done. Today, before I left the house, I made sure I had it all folded, all put in piles. I'd put some back in baskets, but I still needed at least one little basket for what was left on the couch. I took a picture, but I never got to send it to Kelsey because I forgot because I got into DoorDash. I was going to tell her, hey, if you want to come pick up the clothes, they're ready to come pick up, but you need to bring an extra basket with you. So on my way home tonight, I called her and asked her if she had come gotten the laundry while I was out and about today because I hadn't heard from her. And she said yes, she did. And I was like, okay, cool. I took a picture. I was going to send it to you, tell you to da, but I completely forgot, completely spaced it out. Let me see. Did I get that loaded? Yeah. I went by and got me a Dutch Bros. Oh yeah, I'll tell you the story that feeds into this story. Um, I was in Norman. I'd already done a couple of door dashes, a few door dashes, and I was afraid that I wasn't going to get my Dutch Brothers. So I paused my DoorDash for a minute, went to Dutch Bros. I paused it right after I dropped something off because I always do that if I need to do something right after and I don't want like another order coming through, unless it's just like really, really busy. I'll pause the dash, go take care of what I need to because I have 30 minutes, and then get back online. So I thought, well, I got time to pause it, drive down to Dutch Bros, and get a drink. But the story about so I went to Dutch Bros to get me a drink. This was probably around, I don't know, I can't even remember what time it was. Because I really didn't pay attention, but probably a couple hours before I actually, so it was probably around 7 or so. Before I went to Dutch Brothers, I had two offers. I had one offer to pick up from Chili's restaurant, drive it to Goldsby, which is just a few miles down the road, not that many miles. And the pay for it was going to be like $24.75. But it's a catering bag needed. So I had to decline it because I don't got a catering bag, even though they were supposed to mail me one. So, that reminds me, I need to write that down and contact DoorDash about the catering bag that I never got. Because if I have a catering bag, then I can start doing catering orders. But I had to turn it down because I didn't want to take it. Then the order be too big. Because I do have a pizza bag that I can turn and use as a bag if it's not too heavy. But I didn't know how big the packaging is going to be. It said 6 items on there. It could have been some big trays. I don't know. So I didn't want to get into a position to where I accept it. I get there to pick it up, and then they say, "Oh, sorry, but you don't have what we need. So we're going to have to get another driver out here." I didn't want to waste their time or mine. So I declined it. Then a little bit more time goes by. I hadn't gone to Dutch yet, and I got another offer. This time, though, the offer was only for like $9.10, but it was to pick up from a Hunt's Brothers pizza place in Norman and drive it actually back here to Purcell. That would have been cool if I didn't want to continue to dash, Because I thought about it. I thought, well, I could pick that up and take it back to Purcell and then just see what I could finish off the evening with in Purcell. But I hadn't got my Dutch Bros yet, so I declined it. And then it was right after I declined that, I went ahead and paused and went and got my Dutch Bros. I also went by 7-Eleven and pulled some money off my card because I was thinking maybe I'd go pick me up some new greenery. But I was on the complete opposite end of town when I ended, so, and out of town. I was like, nah. Oh, but I get the Dutch Bros, right? So I'm telling the Dutch Brothers guy this story about the catering order I had to decline and about the other order I had to decline because of the fact that it was taking me back to Purcell and that I wasn't going to get my Dutch Bros. I was telling him this, but I'd already paid for my drink. As soon as I got through telling him my story, he goes, "Man, I wish you would have told me that before you paid. I would have gave you that drink on the house." I go, "Are you for real?" He goes, "Yeah," and I was like, "Well, will you give me a rain check?" And he goes, "Yeah," and I go, "Okay, what's your name?" And he told me his name. What did he say his name was? Crap, now I can't remember. Anyway, I'll remember here in a minute. So when I left, I was at least happy to know that there's a possibility I could get me a free Dutch drink the next time I see him. So that was a good thing too. But yeah, I got my caffeine and my sugar rush. I've been basically drinking water all day long. I haven't really drank any other sweet drinks except for one coffee this morning before I left today. And then I've basically been drinking water. And then I had my Dutch Bros. I haven't ate since last night. So it's been about 12 hours since I've had anything. I've been drinking water. And who knows? I might fast for another 12 hours and just drink water the rest of tonight. Flush out my system. And That's what my goal is to start drinking more water, get a little bit more exercise, and cut back on the sugar. Last night I was going to make meatloaf, but instead of making a meatloaf, I made it up to make it like a meatloaf, but instead of putting it in a loaf pan and baking it in the oven for an hour, um, I chose to make patties. So I made me a couple of meatloaf patties last night. I got some of the meat left that I'd mixed up, so I'm probably going to go in there and fry up the rest of that meat and eat, if I do eat. If I don't eat tonight, but go ahead and fry up the food tonight, just so it don't go bad, even though I just opened it yesterday. Um, I'll probably eat tomorrow before I go to work, and I don't have to be at work till 5, so who knows? Maybe I think maybe that's what I'm going to try to do. Try to do it fast, water fast, basically, until tomorrow afternoon, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Eat me a small little meal before I go to work. And that's going to be about it. I'm going to try to get it down to where I can only eat one decent meal a day and just drink a lot of water and cut back on sugary drinks as much as I can. Anyways, peace, love, hugs, and nugs. I just wanted to share all that great news with you guys. Don't forget to check out my community post. I post something not every day, but at least every 2 to 3 days I'll make a post. Sometimes I might make more than one on one day, but I'm always making posts on there. So don't forget to check out my post. If you have not liked this video yet, give it a thumbs up. Let the algorithm know I'm doing a good job. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to me. Hit the notification bell. I try to make a video quite regularly, you know. Um, Leave a comment. If there's any questions that you might have for me, doesn't matter what the question is. Ask me anything and I ain't gonna lie. If it pertains, you know. It just depends on what the question is. But I'll try to give you the best answer I can and I won't lie. I'll be honest with you on that right there. So thanks for stopping by. Much love. And till the next time.